Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demiplanes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. Before we jump into the new releases, let me tell you about our exclusive discount this week. It's for Rest and Recuperation, which is something I definitely need in real life, and it's from Raw Press. It's normally $3.99, but with the Splinterverse discount program, we're bringing it to you for 40% off, so that's around $2.40. It's 19 pages, and it says Rest and Recuperation details rules for playing out the downtime between adventures. Characters can now use their lifestyle directly during downtime. Each downtime might modify your relations to the community where you spend that downtime. Before each week of it, the DM can generate a random event to make the downtime even more interesting. You can go on tavern crawls, tell tall tales, rest to heal lasting damage and diseases, and you can earn or lose coin by working, gambling, or fighting. So very, very cool. You know, downtime is, I think, kind of neglected in a lot of tables, so this is a good way to maybe spice it up, make it interesting. Certainly give it a try. So it says most existing downtime solutions for 5e detail only a week at a time. Rest and Recuperation is an alternative system where you can handle every day of the downtime, working, resting, gambling, or other actions each day. So it says downtime starts when the DM declares it. At the start of the downtime, you must choose which lifestyle you want to start off with and pay the listed experience as detailed in the SRD. So over here, there's a lifestyle table. So if you've got, you could have a wretched lifestyle, a squalid, poor, modest, all these things, right? So there's a table in the SRD to give you access to how much that costs, like how much you would be spending per week if you had a wretched lifestyle or an aristocratic lifestyle. So you can pick that based on the available gold you have. So maybe you start as wretched and then you move up to aristocratic over time with your adventures, right? It says with your lifestyle determined, find the lowest wealth value attached to your lifestyle in the lifestyle table below. This wealth is what you will modify as you go through downtime. Most actions you undertake has a wealth cost or a wealth gain attached to it. Every time you finish an action, make sure you adjust your wealth to find your current one. Wealth can never go below 0. If you're forced to decrease it below 0, the shortage is converted into debt. And then there's a whole loan section. It says, as you spend time in a settlement, your relations to the locals will change for better or for worse. You should keep track of each settlement you visit and the relations you have to each of its social classes. The number of social classes in an area is often determined by the size and type of the settlement. So it talks about like what you would expect to see in towns and smaller cities versus rural villages or even cities of medium size. So it talks about maybe a lower and middle class only in a rural village. And it says levels of relations. You can start downtime with a neutral relation to all the social classes of the settlement unless you've already established relations there in the past. Depending on your current relations to a social class, the DM may give you adjustments to the DC of any downtime actions involving direct interaction with the social class. This can be used outside of downtime to determine initial reactions of NPCs. So suppose you use a system, you have interactions with the people in a village, and it's increasing your reputation, your feelings with them, and then you have something outside of downtime happen there, then maybe the NPCs you interact with are going to be more favorable than they would have been had you not had your downtime in that area. So kind of a cool little way of working that in, which could be fun. It says you've got ways to handle relations here, relations that affect. So if your value is -5 or below, they're hostile toward you. And then you have to increase some DCs to, convince them of things or whatever, intimidate. And then you can go all the way up to a love connection where they just love you. So you get 5+ of value in your score, but then you reduce your DC by 5. It says members of the social classes love you. They want your company. You often get better deals, and they prefer you to help them. So if they have jobs, they're going to want you. If they have something they're selling, they'll give you a discount, that kind of stuff, right? And there's all sorts of modifiers here. So each week is 7 days long, and each downtime action typically requires 1 or more days to complete. So basically, you go through around 7 steps if you're going to do a week of downtime. So there's 7 different actions. I'm going to do this on day 1. I'm going to do this on day 2 to try to increase my scores, etc. And there's quite a bit more. We're only seeing 3 of the 19 pages, so there's a lot more to this, but you're getting to see the idea of how it's structured, which I think could be really fun for you to experience if you haven't been doing much with downtime, or you want to try something different at your table, or maybe your DM isn't messing with downtime and you want them to check this out. I mean, it's you can buy books for others on these sites as well, so you could always gift this to your DM if you're not a DM yourself. Or maybe you are, and you get one for you, and you gift one to your DM for when you're a player. Either way, it's a great price with 40% off. So look for it in the timestamps. It's going to be the first title under Rest and Recuperation, or you can go to the pinned comment and find it in the alphabetized list and give it a click. Next, we have Fearsome Foes, Planar Pirates for 5th edition, author Nathan Ross. And it says it's a series of short PDFs that feature a single villain or villainous group to challenge the player characters in your 5th edition or Pathfinder role-playing games. This one, I believe, is for 5th edition. The villains presented are suitable to be used as either one-shot or recurring foes. So in this particular case, you're going to get some Planar Pirates. And it says, in addition to the main villains, each volume will contain enough supporting material that they should be ready to include in your game with little or no extra preparation. This volume presents 𝙬𝙗 the Hollowed, captain of the Harlequin Tern, and his crew of extra planar pirates. 𝙬𝙗 is driven to travel the plains and carry out the will of his enigmatic alien master. So a couple good things about this right off the bat is it works well with Spelljammer, right? Traveling all these different places in a floating pirate ship. The other thing is Planescape is coming. So a pirate ship that's traveling between planes, not just wild space, could be really cool. So I think you should check it out. But let's look inside. It says, Introduction. Welcome to Fearsome Foes. So, yes, I like that name for the series. Pretty cool. Plunderer of the Plains. An ugly scar opens on the horizon, disgorging a ship. Though still some distance away, its visage seems somehow disquieting. As the ship draws closer, details of its appearance become clear. An iron hull, faded green timber, sails of jaundice. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting look for this thing. Upon the strange ship's bridge, its captain stands swaddled in a thick greatcoat, his mouth a knife wound. His eyes burn with the light of distant stars. The ship's broadside contorts thunder. It's hard to read with this watermark through sometimes. Yeah, that's interesting. I like his mouth a knife wound. So he's got a really interesting look to him. It says, for many, this is the first and last time they lay eyes on 𝙬𝙗, captain of the Harlequin Tern, pirate on the seas, both material and astral, plunderer of the elemental planes, and a scourge to heaven and hell alike. So yeah, you get a deep history of 𝙬𝙗. Yeah, quite a bit of history, which is nice. So almost 2 pages of history on 𝙬𝙗, and then you get the ship itself's stat block here. So there's various actions the ship can take as a vehicle, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, this is going to be useful in a lot of places. I mean, whether it's as a different type of vehicle or in Spelljammer. And then you get some tactics. So it says, before combat, 𝙬𝙗 possesses a wide array of defensive spells and adjusts the ones he casts before combat to meet the perceived threat. Typically, though, he casts Mirror Image and Expeditious Retreat. During combat, 𝙬𝙗 picks his moments and targets in combat with care, typically remaining on the periphery of a fight, taking pot shots with his pistol and making opportunistic attacks with his scimitar until he judges it's time to strike. And then it goes further into that, but it says, morale, should 𝙬𝙗 be reduced below 50 hit points, he begins to retreat from the battlefield. Though still looking for an opportunity to deal a last vindictive blow against his enemy, he uses Dimension Door as a rapid means of retreat to ensure his escape. Though he would much prefer to retreat with the turn, 𝙬𝙗 also retreats if the Harlequin turn is threatened with being destroyed or captured. So yeah, that makes sense. He's got a cool ship, doesn't want to lose the ship. Is a little bit more about the ship. It says the planar engine that powers the Harlequin turn is constructed of a sea green mineral. Dozens of gems glimmer within the engine, each shining with energy collected from various planes. In addition to providing magical propulsion to the ship, once per week the engine can tear a portal between two planes, functioning as a gate spell, but large enough to accommodate the entire ship. Though the Harlequin turn passes through it immediately, the portal remains open long enough for a swift vessel to follow it through before it closes. So interesting. Yeah, I like the details and all the planar connections in here. But yeah, I could see this being used for sure with Spelljammer and potentially with Planescape. So really cool to pick this up now. It's only $2.99. You can get familiar with it, and then it'll be ready to go for Planescape, or you can incorporate it right away in your Spelljammer or your own creation, whatever. It doesn't have to be those Wizards of the Coast settings. All right, look for it in the video description links under Fearsome Foes, Planar Pirates, and give it a click. Next we have For the Round Table, a tier 2 adventure from Elven Tower, and it's for 5th edition. It says it's also OSR compatible on this one. It says, it's been 10 years since Mordred, the king's son, murdered the entire Order of the Round Table and divided the Fable Table into 12 pieces. For a decade, Camelot has been lost in the darkness without the Knights of the Order. But things may change now. A new group of heroes has arrived in town. This is an adventure that brings the heroes to one of Mordred's lairs within the Dark Woods. There, they must search and investigate to learn the location of the table pieces. If they succeed, they may as well change the fate of the entire city and earn King Arthur's favor. And why not? Perhaps it's time to join the ranks of a new Order of the Round Table. So this, when I first saw this, I was excited because it's so cool that it's got this connection to King Arthur stuff and Camelot and all those things. So, and Elven Tower always does such great stuff, and you get so much for your money. You get the adventure PDF, you get a printer friendly one, you get high res versions of the maps, and the artwork in here is always great. I mean, and this is only $1.95 for these 13 pages, and I mean, you would pay that much just for these maps. I mean, they're so good. So you got the primer here of the adventure, the hooks, the background lore, some of the events that'll happen, and then all the different rooms, and then here you can see some of the map. So maybe one of I don't know if this is like let's see, what is this? This is entrance in the lobby. So this is the Camelot's Ale and Spirits. So it's like a tavern that you visit as part of the adventure. And then these are some of the characters you meet, it looks like. And then there's area along the road. And then the Heart of the Woods. Oh, look at that cool creature. Yeah, just so many fun things in here, and always such great maps. I mean, we're only seeing 8 pages in the book, so there's maybe even more maps in here. So 3 maps with VTT for $1.95. Just that. I mean, the price is crazy good. So let's look at some of the events table. It says once per hour in the city or within Camelot's Ale and Spirits, roll for a random event. So the first one is a nobleman approaches Bombalin and buys a round of ale for the characters. He says the realm needs people like them, brave souls ready to stand against evil. Another one is a pair of deer hunters describe their last trip to Camelot's dead woods. They claim a strange horned beast ambushed them, and they had to flee the scene swiftly. So that horned beast, I think we saw it down here later in the book. So that's pretty cool. Get a kind of a warning that is coming through. But here's Bombalin, a dwarf age 142, born in the Northern Territories in the magnificent dwarven city of Snow Peak. When Bombalin came of age, he left his home to become a merchant and sell dwarvish crafts and goods to other people. He dreamed of bringing his race's craftsmanship to other cultures and helping their art become the most popular. And then you get about his manner. So Bombelin smokes a thick, expensive cigar at all times. He cares little for the Lost Order, but he wishes business would go back to its thriving era. So yeah, maybe when the Knights of the Round Table were active, Bombelin would get more business. So yeah, he wants to go back to that. But there's a cool picture of Bombelin up here. Yeah, let's see what else we got in here. So then there's some night encounters where you can have a horde of 20 zombies or a dire bear, some shambling mounds even. But it looks like that horned creature. It's got almost like a unicorn horn. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think this is going to be really fun. It says it's the Mordred beast, the son of the king. In a fit of rage, combined this knowledge of the arcane and necromancy to breed these mind-bending abominations: the strength of a bear, the cunning of a wolf, with the stamina of a boar, a massive beak, and a poisonous frontal horn. So yeah, that's going to be pretty dangerous to get speared by that thing. So pretty cool. Let's see what else we got that we can look at. Let's go back up and look at a couple of the adventure hooks. So it says, a hooded man enters the tavern and approaches the characters. This is Merlin, the court wizard disguised as a peasant. The GM may determine that one of the characters has met Merlin before in a previous quest or mission. The court wizard explains his discovery and asks the characters to retrieve the 12 pieces of the round table. He tells them this is a personal job for the king, but it is imperative that the mission remains secret. They must leave at once and tell no one of their destination. So that's cool. You could interact with Merlin even in this for $1.95. I love it. One of the characters wishes to become a knight. They know about King Arthur and the loyal knights of the Round Table. They came to Camelot looking for clues on how to help restore the prestigious order, which has been lost for more than 10 years. They end up staying in Camelot's Ale and Spirits. There, Bombelin, the owners, may have valuable information regarding their quest. So a number of ways to ingratiate the characters into the area and into these adventures. So I love it. And there's just so many options in here. I love these little tables. And I mean, even just using these tables in another location, you could have a few of these things in here you could put somewhere else for another adventure. So even if you don't use them all, you get some reusability. I think those Mordred beasts are pretty cool. You can reuse those. And then, of course, you can reuse all the maps. So tons of value for your $1.95 here. So check it out. It's under For the Round Table in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Knights of the Crystal Blade, perilous adventures, deadly romance, courtly intrigue, and epic battles from the Night Owl. And it is 132 pages. Author Anders, the Night Owl, 𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙀, or 𝙁𝙗. I'm not sure. It's really small print. I can't read. But it comes in a variety of options, which I like. So you can, for $9.99, you can get the PDF, or you can get various soft covers, premium color or hardcover, premium color or standard color, or combinations, all the way up to, it looks like the most expensive would be $46 to get the hardcover premium color and the PDF. But good combos here. It looks like you can get things for reasonable prices. It's 132 pages, so that's really cool. It says perilous adventures, deadly romance, courtly intrigue, in the land of Escaliard. I'm just not pronouncing these today. I think it's Escaliard. Knights wielding shining crystal swords take a stand against evil and oppression. Adventurers have the chance to win both glory and gold, but must tread carefully in this treacherous realm where 4 knightly orders vie for power. So you get 2 adventures, and it says here you'll find magic crystal swords, knightly orders, tournaments, and tables for customizing your mount, generating your own squire, and determining social skill failures. Mirth guaranteed. Plus forbidden new magic, new monsters and mounts, magic and armor and items, and setting material on chivalry, courtly romance, and knightly oath. So we just looked, like the book right before this was all about the Round Table, how they, got decimated and trying to rebuild the knights, and Merlin and all that good stuff. So you could use this stuff with that too. So the book includes 2 full adventures: the Grand Tournament and the Battle of Fort Duskmark, designed for players of 9th to 10th level, any class. So very cool, and I think that would work well with the previous adventure as well, because in terms of levels. So yeah, you could go from that to this and have a little campaign. You get some print and VTT versions of the maps. You get detailed and illustrated NPCs. Yeah, and just looking at it, it looks really cool. Nice layout. I love the borders on the stat blocks. Those are really fun looking. All right, let's look inside. So you get the story overview, running the adventure, then the synopsis of it, and then you get a really handy flowchart. So day 1 would be this, day 2, all of these things. So let's go back up here and read a little bit about the story overviews. Once every 3 years, the Kingdom of Escaliard holds the Grand Tournament. This legendary competition between knightly factions brings well over 100 knights together and gathers far more people, including their retinues, the audience, and a range of tradesmen and workers. Glory and gold await the victor, but there is more to this tournament than meets the eye. The kingdom stands on the brink of war and chaos. Behind the scenes, struggle for power and influence is raging between the knightly orders. The tournament is a melting pot, pitting the factions against one another. Duels and rivalries are not limited to the official games. The characters are invited to compete in the tournament for the Order of the Rising Pegasus. However, competing in the tournament is only the first of their challenges, for there are dark schemes being set in motion. King Morganov, leader of the Order of the Wyvern, plans to have renowned knight commander assassinated in her tent. A forged testament placed there will ensure that the Order of the Wyvern takes possession of the strategically valuable Fort Duskmark, unknown to most. This deserted fort stands atop a secret asset that could give the Wyvern Knights an edge in the power struggle. So yeah, all sorts of faction stuff going on, different types of knights. I mean, a lot of times it's just like the knights, quote unquote, the knights, right? This is like all these different orders. As I said, if you use the previous adventure, you could even bring in the Knights of the Round Table, could be maybe visiting, maybe have a character from that group that they're asking to fight on behalf of the Order of the Rising Pegasus for this tournament. So many things you could do. But I just love that there's so many different kinds of knights in this. So they have a meal, and then they take part in jousting, steeplechasing, melee combat competitions, and foul play they have to deal with. Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on in this. It looks really cool. And so many pages. I mean, 132 pages, and you can get that for $9.99 just the PDF, or the cheapest option would be go softcover standard color and get the PDF and a printed book for only $29.90. So that's a good price too. But yeah, lots of stuff in here. Again, really nicely laid out. I like this artwork we're seeing here. And it's nice that there's multiple adventures in here for you to experience. And they're at 9th and 10th level too, which is good because I don't see a lot of those. I see some up there, but not as many as you see for tier 1. So very, very cool. I'm happy that this is out there and has so many options for you. So check it out. It's under Knights of the Crystal Blade in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have the Psychic, a 5th edition class from Daryl Dominguez and Team Walrus Designs. It's $7.95 for 38 pages. And it says, call them scions, mystics, talented mutants, or even psychics. Many of them are the names given to those who strive to conquer their mind. Students of the mind and body, psychics are the masters of psionic energy, capable of manipulating the world with their mind. Psychics are proof that a strong mind can bend the world to its needs. The Psychic is a full psionic class that uses its mind to assist its allies in and out of combat. It is typically the strongest at controlling the battlefield and providing support to its allies while injuring its enemies. So very, very cool. It says it uses psionic energy dice as its main mechanic, 5 different psionic awakenings, 6 feats to use with psionic powers, 1 background to exemplify what a psychic can be, rules for using psionic powers, 15 psionic foci that give you enhanced abilities, 17 psionic talents that increase the power in you, 60 plus psionic powers, an appendix that helps you create psionic characters or handle them in your world, an explanation on how the system works. And then we've covered some of the other books that Daryl and Team Walrus Designs has released, and there's quite a few that support including and maybe just enhancing the amount of psionic content in your campaign, or maybe you don't have any at all, and this can really bring it in there. Maybe something happens that awakens these psionic characters. Maybe there's a meteor that crashes down, and then anybody within a certain radius, they may be potentially awakened. as a psionic character, a psionic capable character, I should say. So really, really cool. Yeah, I think it's exciting to see that this is being done because, psionics are in 5th edition from Wizards, but they just haven't done much with them. So Daryl has spent quite a bit of time. You can see the other books here as well. Going into that. So it's awesome. So looking at the table of contents, and it's hyperlinked as well, which is awesome. So that means you can click on the table of contents options and jump to those sections. So you get the class itself and then the awakenings, which are all of the subclasses, and you get a healthy selection, 5 of those. And you get the feats, the backgrounds, and then all the different powers, which, I mean, even just those powers are going to make it worth the $7.95. So so you get into part 1, the psychic, students in the mind, becoming a psychic, all the basic stuff that you got to go through to create a character with a class. And even multi-classing is covered, which is nice. So you harbor a source of psionic energy within yourself that allows you to manifest incredible powers. These psionic powers are supernatural abilities that your character is awakened to and are considered magical for the purposes of vulnerabilities, resistances, and immunities. So that's cool that you have those powers. Also, 2 psionic talents of your choice. From the psionic talent list, you learn additional psionic talents of your choice at higher levels as shown in Psionics talents column. So looking up here, so at first level, you don't have a psionic focus, but you have 2 talents and 2 psionic energy. And then as you grow, your focus gets up to 5. You get 5 talents and 20 psionic energy, which would be like your resource pool. So that's cool. Let's see what else it says. Let's look at one of the second level features. So it says your mind begins to expand, allowing you to access remote sections of it, granting you the following benefits. Learn, you can learn a language or proficiency. And recall, you can accurately recall anything you have read in a language you can read or write, or have heard in a language you can speak. So that's good. You got like a permanent memory of some things. As you continue to develop your abilities, you learn how to focus your energy in specific ways to imbue your body with additional power. You gain 1 psionic focus of your choice, and when you gain certain psychic levels, you gain additional foci of your choice as shown in the table. And 7th level, mastering psionic powers requires a deep understanding of both mind and body. When you finish a long rest, you can replace your proficiency in either con, dex, or wisdom saving throws. To do so, choose one of the other abilities. So you can move that around. That's nice. Let's look at the final ability that you get for your class. So the Psionic Apex. So it says 18th level. It says choose 1 psionic discipline you desire to master. As an action, you can manifest the chosen discipline's effects. When you finish a long rest, you can select a new discipline. So you can pick one of these. So there's metacreativity, psychokinesis, psychometabolism, and telekinesis. So metacreativity, your mind can make a copy of a magic item you can see within 10 feet of you. The new item is an exact copy of the original, with the only difference being that the copy lacks sentience, along with any ability provided by it. The copy lasts for 1 hour or until you lose your concentration, after which it turns to dust. So, you can copy a magic item and get its abilities. And then you can, with psychokinesis, you can create a 30-foot radius spear ravaged by unseen winds that is centered on you and moves with you. The area of effect lasts for 1 minute. While active, all ranged weapon attacks within the area are impossible, and fog and mist and similar phenomena, whether mundane or magical, are dispersed instantaneously. Additionally, creatures within the affected area other than you that make Constitution saving throws made to maintain concentration do so with disadvantage as the debris kicked up by the wind batters against them. Finally, whenever a hostile creature that you can see ends its turn in the affected area, it takes an amount of lightning damage equal to 1 psionic energy dice plus your intelligence modifier. So you have kind of like this protective zone around you. And the telekinesis is probably very similar to, generally telekinesis. So we'll just look at psychometabolism. It says a number of creatures up to your intelligence modifier that you can see within 30 feet of you miraculously recover from grievous wounds and detrimental effects. Affected creatures heal to their hit point maximum and all effects on them as described in the Greater Restoration spell. So, you get a number of options. Oh, there's also another one, telepathy. So you can communicate with others telepathically. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one more feature. I was thinking 18 was the highest on this one, but no, it's 20. That's good. It says your mastery of psionic power makes your mind transcend the limitations of your own physical form. You do not suffer the frailty of old age and can't be aged magically. If you begin your turn with 0 psionic energy dice, you regain 2. That's really handy. Once per long rest, you can manifest the astral projection spell, targeting only yourself. The spell doesn't require any material, verbal, or somatic components, and it's considered a psionic power. Very cool. And then you get to see the whole book here, so you get to see all of these different subclasses are in here, and then you get the feats, so quite a few feats here. And then you get the background apprentice. It says you've spent your life learning how to harness your abilities under the tutelage of a mentor of your craft. And so you get all the typical stuff of the background here. And then here's the psionic powers. So we'll look at some of those, or the psionic focus here. Those could be fun too. It says, so for this one, auto reflexes, you gain a bonus to your initiative equal to your intelligence modifier. That could be cool. Distance manipulation, psionic talents with a range of 5 feet or greater have their range doubled. So that could be cool. Skin hardening, while you're not wearing armor, your AC equals 10 plus your dex plus int mods. So very cool. And then you get all those talents. I mean, look at how many talents and how many powers. And so much stuff. Even a creature, it looks like, coming out on one of the powers. Enhance armor, fog shield, ice sheet, lightning blast, invisibility, molecular. I mean, you can always have room for more psionic powers because there just aren't a lot of them that have been provided by wizards or even third-party products. So, for example, the telekinesis cloak costs 3 dice, manifesting time 1 action, range of touch, concentration up to a minute. You cover a creature in a shroud of telekinetic energy for the duration of the power. Attack rolls made against the target are made with disadvantage. Moreover, when a creature you can see misses with a melee weapon attack against the affected creature, you can use your reaction to redirect the attacking creature's attack back on itself. If the attack meets or exceeds the attacking creature's AC, the attack hits it. So, cool. Lots of fun stuff in here. And I mean, you could take some of these effects even and make them be like a monster ability, or something else, and magic item ability, right? So having so many options in this book is going to be really helpful for you. So I really encourage you to check it out. You're going to get all kinds of, like, every direction you want to go with psionics. You're going to get that in here. You're going to get various effects for psionic powers that I said you could reuse with NPCs or as magic item options, in addition to their natural purpose as being psionic powers. So I think this could be tons and tons of fun, and it is the culmination of a lot of the psionic work that Daryl and Team Walrus Designs have been doing. So check it out under Psychic 5e class in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Ruins of Symbaroum, adventure compendium with 7 different adventures for levels 1 through 8 from Free League Publishing. It's $19.99 for the PDF. It's 224 pages. Authors Matthias Johnson Hockey, Matthias Elijah, and Jacob Rogers. The print's really small, so I may have read those wrong. I apologize. But it says, with the Ruins of Symbaroum game line, the acclaimed setting of Symbaroum comes to the world's most popular role-playing game. The PDF presents 7 low to medium level adventures, perfect for introducing game masters and players to the game world and the special rules created as an addition to the 5th edition rule set. So you can play everything from murder mysteries to forest expeditions and witch hunts. You can visit cities, villages, and expanses of wilderness, treating you to encounters with dark-minded cultists, roaring monstrosities, and raging abominations. Yes, the adventures of this tome do a great job of exemplifying the wide variety of stories that are waiting to be told in the world of Symbaroum. So there's a whole setting, and you can see quite a few titles down here for Symbaroum. I have, I think, 3 of their hardcovers, and they're really, really fun. They've done some really interesting things with 5th edition, adding some new things to it, and just the setting itself is really cool too. So you might want to check out some of the other ones down here as well, which you can get to through the link that we have in the video description. But it gives you 7 full-length adventures, the settlements of Castor, Ravenna, and Prius Pass, 13 mystical artifacts, and a dozen color maps to explore, and as well as an introduction to the pantheon of the young gods. So really, really cool. And I think this could be a lot of fun for people that are looking to explore Symbaroum, although you might need the core books to really to make the most use of this. So Free League Publishing, they always make things look really good, and this table of contents is no exception, because for each of the adventures they've got like a separate little TOC. The page numbering continues as it should, but they've kind of broken out each of the adventures into their own, which I really appreciate, because I think that's going to make it easier for you to find things and to not lose your place as you're trying to look something up here. So bravo to them for thinking outside the box on how to do a table of contents. A lot of publishers, they feel like they have to stick to the traditional format, but you don't have to. But then look, also they have an appendix which has spells, artifacts, a section on the young gods, some handouts, and player maps as well. So again, always well organized and put together. I mean, I love the borders on the book and the artwork. I mean, that's a cool. I wonder what that creature is. Very cool. It says, if you are seeking adventure, then look no further. Between the pages of this tome, you will find everything from murder mysteries to forest expeditions, etc. 7 adventures. That's just so many that do a great job of exemplifying the wide variety of stories that are waiting to be told in the world of Symbaroum. Prior to concluding the appendix with rules, artifacts, handouts, and player maps, this book is structured in accordance with the 7 adventures, as we talked about. I love that. It says the first 3 adventures constitute a series of tutorial scenarios specifically designed as a way of introducing you to the ruins of Symbaroum, the Promised Land. I mispronounced that. It says the Promised Land introduces the players to the setting and the base rules. The Mark of the Beast takes a firm grip on the rules of problem solving by giving the player characters a chance to unravel a gruesome murder plot, while Tomb of Dying Dreams takes them on an expedition to the resting place of a long dead king in the depths of the forest of Davokar. So very, very cool. I like that sequence. So you have to do quite a bit of problem solving and investigation, and eventually some travel too. So that's cool. And then you deal with the central theme of Symbaroum Game World, the conflict between civilization and nature. In Fever of the Hunt, the digging and looting of treasure-seeking humans threatens to awaken a feud between 2 ancient powers. If this happens, and if the player characters fail to act, the bloody effects will likely be felt far beyond the borders of the forest. And in The Bell Tolls for Castor, a cult of monster worshippers who recently managed to outsmart and defeat a rival sorceress cult have taken control of the town and are brutally searching for information that can help them return their monstrous dragon lord from the Yonder World. As a suggestion, these scenarios are suitable for characters of 4th or 5th level. And then the final 2 adventures deal with Ambrian politics. In this case, the plots are related to the growing schism within the Ambrian Sun Church between the followers of the Lawgiver and the Lifegiver. The Howling of Damned Gods is about the relocation of a convicted heretic from a prison in Old Alboretor to the dungeons beneath Templewall. While What's Bred in the Bones starts off as a murder inquiry but develops into an armed conflict between the 2 religious factions. Which side the players will align with, if any, is completely up to the players. So really cool. They have such a diversity of adventures in here, having read through this. Everything from investigation, faction battles, mysteries, dealing with armed conflicts, and then it sounds like your choices really matter, which is also really important for adventures. When you feel railroaded, it can't be fun, and it sounds like they've planned for the consequences. If they don't stop this, this is going to happen. That's kind of how adventures need to be, so that there's consequences for not picking up the clues and jumping into things. So then we get into the first one. I mean, these backgrounds are just stunning. I love this gold foil drop cap they've got going on, and then here you get into the Promised Land. So you're going to get a visually stunning book to look through too as well. And so they give you this nice, really clean intro up here to the adventure. and then it gets right into the overview in the beginnings. And so that's where the preview ends. So we're just going to read a little bit about this one, but I'm super excited this is out there. As I said, I have 3 of the hardcovers for the series. I think that they're so well done. But it says the player characters have ended up in a caravan camp just to the south of the Titans. The camp spans a vast area vegetated by slender trees whose leaves have started to shift in autumnal nuances. About 40 wagons are parked in random pattern, and between them, tents have been raised. Most of the tents are tiny and weathered, but a few of them look like small palaces made of cloth, evidently belonging to some of the nobles who have waited until the last moment to leave their estates. In a dozen places, fires burn day and night, some of them surrounded by logs, others by more or less sloppily crafted benches. Most of the people in the camp give face to a mixture of sorrow, relief, and hope. They are sad to leave the place where their family has lived for generations, where their ancestors are buried, and where so much of themselves is tied to the earth, the landscape, and now the abandoned buildings. They are relieved to finally be on their way, to have left the ash deserts of the south and reach the still living soils of the mountain region. And the hope they feel can be seen in their slightly curved lips, the hope that the world north of the Titans shall prove to be as flourishing and welcoming as everybody says. So, right off the bat, you're starting off with this populace that has been displaced, and they're not necessarily thrilled about it, but they're hopeful. So it's a really good place to introduce an adventure. So the purpose of the first section is just to introduce the characters and have them sign on to Argasto's caravan. As long as the characters have made arrangements to travel north, everything is fine. Some players might refuse to fight Argasto's guards in mock combat, which happens on the next page, in which case Argasto will charge them a couple of silver pieces each to cover hiring another guard or 2. So good options. Like I said, everything looks really, really cool in here. It's got a rich world that you can build upon. And to be honest, I mean, $20 for 8 adventures, that's a good price. I mean, that's really good. I mean, that's like a little over $2 per adventure. I mean, you see lots of books on here that are more than that for one adventure. And to get them all united in a setting and building on each other, so you could go from 1 to 8 with this. I mean, as a whole campaign if you want. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, you might need to, as I said, get some other books to get, some of the special rules for Symbaroum and the setting, but still, I mean, I think that's a steal of a price. So look for it in the video description links under Ruins of Symbaroum and give it a click. Next, we have Secret of the Black Crag, designed for old school essentials. So that's, like your basic Dungeons and Dragons, OSR type stuff. And it's by Joel Hines and Chance Dudenak, or Dudenak. Yeah, Chance Dudenak. It says, what would an ocean be without a monster lurking in the dark? It would be like sleep without dreams. That's a great quote from Werner Herzog. So it's a 96-page island crawl sandbox adventure centered around a multi-level dungeon. And it says the adventure begins in the pirate haven of Port Fortune, a rowdy town in the tropical archipelago of the Salamander Islands. Here, a mysterious undersea mountain has risen forth from the abyss, beckoning treasure hunters to explore the forgotten depths of the Black Crag. So pretty cool. And it says you get a forbidden rock filled, the Black Crag is a forbidden rock filled with over 75 evocative and dangerous dungeon rooms on 3 levels laid out for maximum ease of use. 18 adventurous locations scattered around the Salamander Islands on a detailed hex map. 5 sparring factions, from coral-encrusted skeleton pirates to manufactured crab people to travelers from beyond the stars. The pirate outpost of Port Fortune, a shanty town of ship hulls and sailcloth, detailed encounter tables, a rival pirate crew generator, quick and dirty underwater adventuring rules to help out when you swallow a potion and jump off the ship, 11 brand new monsters, and plenty of unique twists on familiar creatures. So just tons of fun stuff. I really like what I'm reading so far. And the artwork and layout looks really good too. So you have this nice, on the right hand side, you have the sort of tab style, so showing us that we're in the intro, but as you go through, it's going to highlight different ones, so you can see where you're at. which is nice. You get the player background, history of the region, then all about Port Fortune and the Salamander Islands, and then you get to the Black Crag with the different levels, and then a bunch of appendices with monsters, magic items, automaton creation, and things like that. Then you got the player background here that we can look at. I mean, you're getting to see 35 of the 96 pages, which I think is really cool. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do a quick scroll so you can see already. Look at the stunning artwork in here. All the fun stuff in here. I mean, so many cool pieces of line art. You've got maps of the islands. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful book. And I know not all of you play OSR, Old School Essentials. You know, you should certainly give it a try. But if you only play 5th edition, I think you're still going to get quite a lot of things out of here. You could adapt this. You could use some of these little tables like the generators. You could use the maps. I mean, it's only $15, and there's a lot of cool stuff. Even just some of the characters. I mean, Mama Fortuna's Hunt. I mean, there's no stats on this page, so everything on this page you could use with 5th edition, etc. But as I said, I encourage you to also try Old School Essentials and mix it up. You know, it's even more important now, post the OGL stuff, for people to branch out and try different things. I know Old School Essentials is still D&D, but it's much more removed from the current edition than 5th edition is. So you've got player background here, rumors and hearsay. So I like that it's got true and false on these. So it says the Black Crag was once the lair of a legendary pirate. Well, that's true. It says old Red Eyes haunts these waters, a monster born from the vengeful souls of drowned sailors. So it's partially true because old Red Eyes is real. It's just a white shark. I love that. So such cool detail in here. And then these maps, I mean, I just can't say enough about them. I'm a sucker for isometric maps, and these look so cool. And then you've got the encounters. It says an angry pirate challenges one of the party to a duel to the death, claiming they stole a ring at the bar the night before. So yeah, you could have all kinds of stuff with that. And you know, at the beginning of the video, we looked at Planar Pirates book, and you know, introducing just a character, some supporting cast, and a ship to travel and encounter, right? So you could have that show up here. I know it's for 5th edition, but you could adapt it. Yeah, the sultry siren. It says 2 stories, tarred wood set atop a base of gray brick. The sign hanging over the entrance depicts a voluptuous woman with a pair of feathered wings on her back. A snaking ribbon displays the tavern's name. In the common room, pirates laugh, drink, and fight. Tables sit pushed around in the room to their likings. Stains of thrown drinks and pipe smoke drip down the walls. Love that. And then you've got all the information on the cost of things. I mean, here's a curio emporium. I mean, so many places you can visit. The Lich Yard, that sounds fun. Poorly kept graveyard, where wooden markers and disintegrated headstones huddle into mounds of uneven earth. 1 in 6 chance per night, the ghostly image of a weeping woman appears by the grave of Isabella Smith. So again, I mean, these are things. 1 in 6 chance. You can do that in 5th edition as well. So lots of use in here. I see all of this town could be 5th edition, but I just think it's so well written. I mean, I'm getting giggles looking through a lot of the text. So, I mean, even just to read it would be great. But, you know, it's got all the stats for Old School Essentials. So if you play, you know, BECME, Basic, any of that stuff, you're going to be set. You got these NPC generator with a name, appearance, personality, quirk. So if we just go across the first one, her name is Anne. She has acne. She's ambitious, and she has a pet parrot that insults people. How fun is that? You know, you could have this bird. It wasn't me, it was the bird. You know, I didn't say that about you. It's my bird. And then here's all the Salamander Island stuff. There's even something here at 15. It says it's a lair of Morgawa. So right there in the water or something. Very cool. And there's another spot on the water, 19 there. So it's nice that it's not just the islands that have markers. There's some stuff going on in the water as well. Random land encounter. I mean, this book is just packed full of stuff. Here's the Jade Island. And we haven't even gotten to the big dungeon. You got to remember, there's a 3-level dungeon in here. So I'm on board. $15 for 96 pages of this goodness. Sign me up. It's really cool, and I love the art and the cover. So you got to check it out. You got to at least come here and look at it and consider buying it. I'm pretty sure you'll be glad you did. So it's under Secret of the Black Flag in the video, or Black Crag, excuse me, Secret of the Black Crag in the video description links. Give it a click. Next, we have Soldiers of Fortune, Steelhead options for Iron Kingdoms Requiem from Privateer Press. And I really enjoy the Iron Kingdoms. I think the setting is just so cool. I actually recently got a number of hardcover books for it because I just really wanted to be able to sit and read and enjoy it, because I think it's really creative and interesting, and we've covered it a few times on the channel, and I just every time I'm excited. And this one's by Matt Goetz, and it's only $1.99 to get this. And you can see down here there's a few more of the Iron Kingdoms titles: the Guardians of the Temple, the Reclaimers, Paladin, Sacred Oath, Something Wiccan, and Novokorska. So if you click our link, you can get to all those, or you can come here and click on Privateer Press as well to see more of that. But it's just a fun setting. And in this book, it says, stand your ground and hold the line. Go to battle as a chapter of the legendary Steelhead Mercenary Company. This expansion for Iron Kingdoms Requiem includes a new adventuring company that allows players to forge their own chapter of the Steelheads, and includes rules for their rugged artillery and profiles for the tried and true soldiers that make up the ranks of this mercenary army. So I love that it has the rules for creating your own chapter of the Steelhead. So you can create your own little adventuring company, and then you can use their artillery, because it's kind of like there's just this, it's hard to explain, but it's kind of steampunk a little bit in the Iron Kingdoms, because you've got these sort of machines doing things, as you can see in the logo there. There's this sort of mech thing, but it works so well the way they've done it. It just really blends together so nicely with the traditional fantasy stuff. So you got the Steelhead Captain here. Steelhead Captains are seasoned veterans of the battlefield with years of experience fighting for the Steelhead Mercenary Company, skilled tacticians and leaders. Captains are respected by their comrades for their bravery and leadership. A captain is usually found at the forefront of battle, leading troops into the fray and using tactical acumen to outmaneuver the enemy. They are formidable combatants trained in a variety of combat styles. In addition to possessing combat skills, the captain is also an able diplomat, able to negotiate with clients and allies on behalf of the company. So very, very cool. So this one is a CR2, and yeah, it's really, really cool to see the artwork that goes with this. I mean, that giant sword, I mean, wow. And I love the barding on the horse here. It's just cool. So he's got a reaction called No Sleeping on the Job. I love the name. When the captain or an allied creature within 30 feet of it is subjected to an effect that would move it, knock it prone, or both, it can use its reaction to be neither moved nor knocked prone, or to cause the allied creature to be neither moved or knocked prone. So yeah, that could come in handy, especially with mass combat and things going on with these companies. So yeah, so you can see here they've got little sort of mechanical guns as well, which is fun. It's a different setting, and I love that. I love that it has the traditional fantasy stuff. It has this mechanical stuff too. So here's the Steelhead Heavy Cavalry. Steelhead mercenary companies often include hardened horsemen, providing the speed and power of heavy cavalry at a reasonable price. Though they demand more than Steelhead infantry, employers consider the riders a bargain. The cavalrymen have a reputation as tough veterans who seek out the greatest risk because it brings them the best pay. Though some citizens in war-torn areas accuse them of banditry and looting, Steelhead officers insist their men are professionals who take only the normal liberties expected of any red-blooded soldier in a time of war. So very, very cool. You know, and you got the blunderbuss is the name of its ranged weapon attack. So it's and it does piercing damage. So I guess that's this thing, the blunderbuss here. You got a cavalry charge. If the steelhead moves at least 20 feet straight toward a creature while mounted and then hits with a cavalry axe attack on the same turn, it can have its mount make a hooves attack against the creature as a bonus action. That's really cool. You can use your mount. I mean, this, like I said, I love the Iron Kingdoms. I got several of their hardcovers, and they look really nice on the shelf too. So, you know, this one's a smaller one, so I don't think there'll be a print version. It's only 15 pages. So, you know, you got to have some supplements for all the hardcovers or whatever books. But I think you could use these stat blocks even without the other Iron Kingdom stuff. Definitely has some cool things to look at. And it's only $1.99, so you could get this, look through the 15 pages, get acclimated to the Iron Kingdoms, or if you're already playing it, you could add it to what you're doing. And even just the rules on how to make these companies would be very, very helpful, because who doesn't want to have that opportunity eventually to make your own little adventuring company in game. So very, very cool. Check it out. It's under Soldiers of Fortune in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Tales of the Hunt from Knaves and Saves. It's a collection of micro adventures with creatures of challenge and renown. It's 90 pages for $15, and you get VTT maps with it. It says, who is the mysterious little girl who wanders around the graveyard of a ruined church, and what does she have to do with a family feud that's raged for nearly a century? Why does a frozen storm churn atop a lone peak where an ancient city sleeps beneath the snow? Who is the green witch, Jelena, and why do all the sailors avoid her isles? Tales of the Hunt presents 9 standalone adventures for varying lengths of parties, ranging from levels of 1 to 15. Each adventure easily integrates into any campaign world and sometimes provides multiple endings or routes depending on in-game character actions. Guides are given to adjust the difficulty of every combat encounter, and visual indicators are provided to assist the GM in understanding critical narrative points that may be particularly dangerous or important for running each hunt. The hunts are designed to provide exciting NPCs and stories for players to interact with, who may end up becoming familiar faces in any game as allies or foes. Brief backgrounds are provided to the GM on how to roleplay these NPCs with their mottos, drives, and demeanors. Beyond this, the book also introduces a glory and renown system that GMs and players alike will enjoy, providing a way to assess the capability of characters as they adventure through their world and tell their tales. The system introduces titles that can be added as honorifics to characters and gained as they make their choices in your game. And a portion of all profits from this book go to the World Wildlife Fund, which is really, really cool. Always love to see charity be a part of things. And, you know, this is going to give you a lot of things. It's giving you adventures from 1 to 15. So that's 3 tiers worth of adventures, basically. You're getting a renown system, so you can have this sort of glory and renown stuff going on. You're getting a way to introduce titles and honorifics, and it sounds really, really fun. Plus the VTT map. So before we even look at it, I just wanted to point out all the value you're getting for this title. So you get to see a couple pages in here in the preview from the middle of the book. So we get to see some cool things going on with this hunt for Leon Sauveterre, the vampire. It says, now that the party has the pins from the mayor, they are more easily able to engage shopkeepers and potentially ask about Leon Sauveterre. In the former case, the players are able to acquire any mundane item they need and a handful of magic items, mostly potions of the common and uncommon varieties. Since the party is after a vampire, it would make sense for them to ask after a priest or some holy water. If they do, Eberron keeps a local priest who can provide limited healing blessings and a few bottles of holy water. So they can discover information from the townsfolk and historical records about Leon and the Durants based on investigation checks. So here is the information you get, and so the higher the check, the more information. So at the lowest one, it says Leon was one of the better knights to be stationed within Irigan's fort. He was said to have skill with a slender blade. And then down at the bottom it says if you have a DC 25 investigation check, Leon tried to get them out, but something must have gone wrong with the plan, for Leon was never seen again. The bodies of the Durant scions were found in the woods, killed perhaps by wolves, but no one is sure. The persistent rumor is that Leon left thereafter, escaping to safer lands, though another is that Leon was killed by the 𝙎𝙬 family, along with the boys who may have been caught in the ensuing fight. So, very cool backstory that you're getting, and I like that, you know, based on your DC you're getting more or less information, so that's really cool. And then you have the read aloud text here. We're going to read a little bit of that, and then a whole section on how to role play as Gustav 𝙎𝙬 the Third. And then you even have some regional effects. So this is dark skies and cold ground. The weather in a 1 mile radius around the Durant estate is constantly overcast with thick melancholy clouds, dimming day until dark, deep twilight. Characters without dark vision will need a light source to see. Furthermore, there is a constant chill in the air, which turns the ground into freezing slush and snow. The dead also rise in this area, moving around and hunting the living. Creatures that die within 1 mile of the Durant Chateau rise the next night as a zombie. So very cool stuff going on. And it says traveling to the chateau. I mean, there's even some lair actions for Leon's Swater. I can't say that name. Anyway, but let's read so you can get an idea of the flavor text here. So it says, description of Irigan's night streets. The night is clear and your breath clouds the air. The moon is ringed with ice. Its light with barely enough strength to reach the cobblestone streets, and all the world is gray and slick. Sentries of pairs and small groups of hunters patrol close by the municipal building, growing more sparse as your eyes are drawn towards the edges of Irigan. No doubt they are skilled, but many huddle near the rare fires that have been set to burning in between choice buildings. They tell ribald jokes and take glances at dark alleys as if expecting attackers to emerge from so accessible a position as a narrow street. Some buildings are bursting with light that spills over into the street, giving you occasional reprieve from the dark. Within their glowing windows, you can see the silhouettes of people moving about, sitting and sharing meals or drinks. As you turn your attention away from the man-made and back to the natural world, however, you notice something, or rather lack of something. There are no night sounds, and as you strain to hear the faint chirp of crickets, you are able to catch 1 or 2 notes of their song before they are silent, and all the dark seems to hold its breath. So very cool information that you get about, you know, all the lighting and what it looks like there. And, you know, it sounds like this is going to give you a lot of stuff, because you're going to get the levels 1 to 15 adventures. You're going to get all the bonus material about the bosses that you're going to be fighting. You're going to get the glory and renown system. You're going to get honorifics and titles, all for $15, 90 pages plus VTT and donating to charity. So I think it's a win all the way around. I hope you check it out. It's under Tales of the Hunt in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Through the Foglands from Maynard, and it's an adventure module for 3 to 4 characters of 3rd level. With this really fun cover, it's $4.99 for 24 pages. And it says, Gold Rush, the ambitious king of Octavia, has promised a title and a portion of profits to any prospector who can find the source of the lustrous ore recently panned in the river near Walton's Point. This boundless and empty land, previously only thought of as a curiosity only relevant to scholars for its elven ruins and odd weather, is on the verge of annexation by the crown. Its residents are scrambling to profit off of the discovery or to avoid displacement. Kingdoms of yore sold their souls to assert dominion over their neighbors. Will history repeat itself? So as we said, it's a module for 3 to 4 characters of 3rd level. But it's primarily a wilderness point crawl adventure designed to give players a simple goal: move from left to right as fast as possible. A warlord blocks their path and demands 2,000 gold to proceed. Parties can delve into a dungeon to raise the cash, go the long way around through a perilous swamp, or fight their way through. 2 rival expeditions race them to their destination. So yeah, I like that. It's really cool to see that not only is it a wilderness point crawl, but you've got these stakes. You've got, okay, we've got to raise the 2,000 to get to the other side or get through. We've got these rival parties trying to race to the other side. Every way we go, there's going to be some sort of challenge, but we got to get to the other side. So Through the Foglands, it's a perfect title for this. Love it. And looking inside, I was really impressed with how it looks. I mean, there's so much good art, the layout. I mean, I'm just scrolling through. You get to see the whole book. And I love these little maps throughout here. All this stuff is just so fun. I mean, look at how big that is. That's really cool. Vant, the City of Statues. There's a black pudding there that you're going to have to deal with. Yeah, just really, really cool. And I mean, this reference sheet, how nice and clean and handy is this? It's so well presented. The tracker, you can track the days and do all this. I mean, just the finishing touches on this are so great, from what I can see. And again, I love the concept of it too. So it says there's various hooks here. So the prospectors, the player characters, just want gold or plan to use this feat to gain influence with the king. Fog researchers, what makes vapor billow out from the swamps to the south of the Foglands. Enlightened minds in Octavia want to know. Wish seekers, there are rumors that travelers in the Foglands have dreams that promise to grant their greatest desires. And then opportunist gold brought all kinds of vulnerable travelers to the Foglands. They'll bring valuable equipment with them, ripe for the taking. Instability in any region can open the path to power for enterprising individuals. And you could make each one of these goals one of the party members, right? Maybe a couple are prospectors, a couple are fog researchers, and the one's a wish seeker and one's an opportunist, right? So you can bring all of them together and they realize that they have a common goal of exploring the Foglands. And maybe a little bit of opposing goals in some cases, and that can create some interesting dynamics in the party too. So you got milestone leveling, talks about wilderness traveling, encumbrance, all that stuff, and then you get into Eastwind, which is the hamlet, rumors, nighttime sabotage. I mean, you can just see how this is so well put together, because that whole page is just like exactly what you need. So you could print that or put it on your screen, and you're good to go. You don't need a bunch of other stuff. And then same thing here. You go down here. This page has everything. You just need the little tracker page because it shows you the schedule here that goes with the tracker. Looks like so just packaged perfectly, I think. It says this obscure hamlet has some farms, a general store, and an inn too new and small to have a name. It's filled with excitement about being relevant to travelers for the first time in living memory. In the town square, two groups are packing up their respective camps, the Fairender and the Wolstrom expeditions. Both expeditions leave the early afternoon after introducing themselves to the player. So those are the sort of rival expeditions. Then you get the townsfolk, a list of all of them, such as Sal Gevin, fresh-faced innkeeper, excited about this new and expensive fermenting casks in his basement, which could also be interesting to investigate. You got nighttime sabotage. The night before the players arrived, the Wolstrom expedition stole the blade from Lev's plow, the gears from Ernest's mill, and drilled holes in Sal's fermenting casks, ruining the brew by exposing it to the air. So yeah, there you go. They might need to investigate those casks. So a lot has happened before you arrive, which is perfect. Showing up with a mess. I mean, that's a prescription for a story. I love that. And then bounties, there's all these different bounties you can get. And then the rumors, it says there's only one set of prospectors' tools at Walton's Point. It'll be hard to find gold if you don't get there first. Urgency, great in story and adventuring. Says another rumor is there's a trapper somewhere near Walton's Point that pays handsomely for the pelts of rare beasts, so that could be something to do. Get these pelts off some of the things that you have to kill on your journey. I mean, loving it. Look at this. Got a whole table of forest wanderers. So yeah, when I was first looking at this, I saw that this author had done some other good stuff that people really liked, and that they were excited that the author was doing some new stuff, and I am too. I don't think we've covered this author on the channel before. If we did, forgive me. We've covered thousands of books at this point. I can't remember them all, but I want to see more, because I really do just love the presentation, the concepts, and I feel like this author really gets it, which is important. So you got to check it out. It's in the video description links. It's under Through the Foglands. Give it a click and go through to those Foglands. All right, next we have Tomb of the Colossus Gods, a campaign setting for 5th edition. And it's on sale for $30.06, normally $37.57. And you can see I have all of it because I backed it on Kickstarter. And it's 422 pages from Lion Banner Games and author Richard T. Carroll. And it's really cool. It's a dark, epic fantasy campaign and setting. And it was, as it says here, a Kickstarter. And, Kickstarters are great to purchase later because you know that there was money that went into it, right? It's not just some template in Word thrown together and uploaded, right? It's got artwork, it's got time and money spent into it. So even if you can't always back something, if you can get it later, you can benefit from the fact that those Kickstarter books often have that production value that you like to see. So, this is no exception. 420 pages, high quality art illustrations, 6 new classes, 30 plus new weapons and spells, plus enemy stat blocks. And it's a campaign that takes players from levels 1 to 10 and beyond. There is a Foundry VTT. I don't know if it comes with this, bundled with this, or if you have to get it separately. I'm not sure, but it's out there. It says, join our quest. I guess I can check. It's not in my files. So, but you do get, it looks like a font and some stuff. To be honest, I haven't gotten to look at it much. I'm too busy making my own book. But I'm excited to have it when I do get some downtime because this book is, look at this. Look at this artwork. It is just unreal. So as I said, you're going to get that production value that you're just not going to get from somebody who didn't go through the crowdfunding. And that's not a knock against books that don't go through crowdfunding. There's plenty of those. I've done plenty that haven't been crowdfunded. It's just different. And when you think about the price, $30, that's because you're going to get so much more than you might if it was self-funded. So very cool. It says, join our quest with the heroes who are set to embark on an epic journey across the desolate land of decay, an island where new cults and dark sorcery thrive with the discovery of temples and tombs beneath its ashen desert. The quest of the players is set in motion by the mage Demetrius to uncover the mysteries of the tombs of the Colossus Gods that are buried deep below the ageless city. It is here that time was brought to a standstill millennia ago. Along their journey, they will encounter terrible adversaries in battle against the mage Calostromo, who has amassed an army of followers in an attempt to return to the ageless city and awaken the Colossus Gods. Pledge your allegiance and join the quest to restore time to the ageless city and destroy Calostromo and his army of followers. You must prevent the awakening of the Colossus Gods at all costs. Join the fight. So, very, very cool. I love it. And look, these maps are just beyond good. So here you go, looking inside, you can see again that beautiful art and layout and just even the little touches of the borders on the art. Perfect. It talks about all the different things, and then getting started, and the trailer, and then the resources. And then there's a dedicated section of their website for some additional things to help you that you can access for free. And then it goes through all the different sections here. So we're going to pick one to read in a minute. So this is the different sections of the adventure. So the first one is they discover the background of the city and why they need to stop Calostromo. And then the very first part of the campaign, the players will discover the city of Deepwell, a city sunk deep below the earth, controlled by a handful of guilds and wealthy merchants. It is the only semblance of civilization on this forsaken island and a dark area where justice is hidden within its shadows. Yet even in a place of darkness, a beacon of hope will sometimes shine through. So they deal with the Deepwell Consortium, and then there's a small revolutionary force. It looks like the Sun Uprising, and then there's some gangs you've got to deal with, and then it says it is in Deepwell that the players will encounter the mage Demetrius, or Demetrius, I'm not sure how you say it, who now lives as a recluse. Through the events in the city, the players will find themselves on the quest to restore time to the Ageless City and face 𝘏𝙗𝙗. So this, that kicks it off. This is really the first part of the campaign, and then you get into Land of Decay, Ageless City. But let's see what happens toward the end here. It says, the heroes will have to venture into the chamber of the Colossus Gods and destroy them once and for all if they are to restore time to the Ageless City. 𝘏𝙗𝙗 is fanatical about his plan to awaken the gods and grasp their power within his hands. So competing objectives, 𝘏𝙗𝙗 wants to harness the power of the gods. You're trying to destroy them. You have to actually destroy these Colossus Gods as players. When the players finally uncover the entrance, they will have to navigate their way through perilous tomb corridors, avoiding traps and monstrous foes to reach the chambers occupied by the Colossus Gods. And then it says the rise of the 𝙤𝙤𝙗. Each of the chambers of the Colossus Gods contains a 𝙤𝙤𝙗. These are monsters left there long ago by 𝘏𝙗𝙗 and have now risen to a gargantuan size. The players will have to destroy these deadly foes to have any chance of defeating 𝘏𝙗𝙗. And then finally, the battle against 𝘏𝙗𝙗. The players will have to destroy him to finally restore the equilibrium of the city, of time within the city. So you're going to bring time back to it. So time is stopped there. Any legendary artifacts not retrieved by the players will now be wielded by 𝘏𝙗𝙗. To enhance his power, he must be prevented from awakening the Colossus Gods. So yeah, this is an epic battle. This is not for the faint of heart. You are going to go up against these 𝙤𝙤𝙗s and gods and 𝘏𝙗𝙗 and all of this stuff. So I think this is going to be epic and so much fun. And it takes you from levels 1 to 10 and beyond. And the art is just beautiful. I'm so glad I got it. I can't wait till the day when I get to dive into this some more. But I backed it right away as soon as I saw it, because I mean, look at how cool all these things are that they have, and it's great to support these creators. Margins aren't as big as you think on Kickstarters. You think, oh, they're making all this money. It costs a lot of money. I'm preparing one right now, and the amount of money I've already put into it, and we haven't even launched, is just unreal. So you've got to keep supporting these third-party creators even after the Kickstarter, and grab these books. This one is exceptional. So check for it in the video description links under Tomb of the Colossus Gods and give it a click. Well, that was our last new release for one of the sites. Before we move on to the second site, a few announcements for you. First of all, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment. All those things help us get the word out. More people find the videos and get to know about all these great releases if you can do that. And I'll respond to all comments personally. If you can click those links in the video description and support all these awesome creators that we featured this week, that really helps them. This business is tough, so you want to help encourage them to stay in it and creating these awesome titles for you to enjoy and bring to your table. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, even if we didn't talk about it today, it's going to help support the channel through a small affiliate fee. So we really appreciate it when you do your shopping with us. That's awesome. And if you really want to take it to the next level to support us, you can purchase one of our books. You can go to splinterverse.com to read more about all of those, or click the links in the video description in the section we have on our books. And I'll just tell you about a few of them here now. So our latest one is the Dragonlance Companion. It's 180 pages for DMs and players to really get into Krynn. Everything from subclasses to races, including classic ones like Draconians and Half-Ogres and Thanoi, as well as 2 full-blown adventures, a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 that you can link together for a full campaign. We've got monsters, magic items, encounters, new types of items like legacy items, and even herald items that are connected to the gods, which we profile in massive detail so that you can use the piety system to really interact with the gods. So there's just so much to be found in there for Dragonlance and Krynn if you're into that, or if you want to take these things and put them in another setting, of course. And it's available in print as hardcover or digital, or you can get both for this combo price, where there's no extra charge for the digital. So that's always very cool. Then we've also got Swarms of the Multiverse, which is over 180 pages dedicated to brand new monsters that have some sort of connection to swarms, whether it's they form swarms, they summon swarms, or they control swarms. Each of the 70 new monsters in this book have some sort of connection, and we give them lots of space in the book. Each monster gets a minimum of 2 pages, so you get lots of lore, you get tactics, you get a playlist of the moves that they would use on their stat blocks. So if you want to quickly run it without reading too much, you can just go through the playlist. We've also got associated things like magic items that are connected to some of the creatures, demi-planes, full demi-planes that you can explore with some of these creatures as well. Then we've got rules for you to create your own swarms that are balanced for 5th edition, so that's really helpful. And then we have other types of swarms, like environmental swarms that don't even have hit points, but are more like hazards or puzzles that your party will have to pass through on their way to whatever the next adventure is. So tons and tons of stuff to really bring swarms to life and help you make a swarm out of any creature, whether it's third party or an official Wizards release. You'll be able to confidently make those swarms using those balanced rules. And again, it's print or digital. Then we've also got our platinum bestsellers here with the Feywild Companion, which is over 150 pages devoted to the Feywild, the plane where everything is Fey, and it's really a fun place to explore. It's a little bit different than the material plane, so you can have a really unique experience that kind of turns things on its head. And this fits well with Wild Beyond the Witchlight or any other Fey experience that you want to have. It's got player subclasses, one for each class that connects to the Fae. It's got magic items, races, lineages. It's even got trinkets, a new type of item called Flowers of the Feywild, which is a new consumable that helps you really feel like you've gone to a fantastical place. But these flowers can be used as a consumable item or like an environmental hazard, which is fun. We got a brand new Domain of Delight with a beautifully illustrated map in the same style as the one in Wild Beyond the Witchlight for Prismeer. We've got full adventures, encounters, monsters. I mean, it's just jam-packed. VTT tokens, all that stuff if you buy the digital, but it's also available in print as well. So you're going to want to check that out. Then there's also our other platinum bestseller, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets. It's devoted to dragons. It's meant to tie into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but it can be used on its own. So you've got dragon-themed subclasses, one for each class. You've got trinkets. You've got magic items, you've got horde magic items, draconic gifts. So those things that are in Fizban's, we're expanding and giving you more. So you have more draconic gifts and more horde magic items. You get a brand new familiar, adventure hooks to tie everything together from the DM point of view, so you can make those subclasses NPCs or whatever you want to do. So it's really, really good. It's going to be a hardcover soon. So by the time you watch this, it might already be a hardcover. So you can get the hardcover and or the digital as well. Then we've got our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages, which is devoted to the new concept of lineages that was introduced in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. And it's really fun. It makes your race basically something very personal to you, because lineages are something that is sort of thrust upon your character. It's not how you were born. It's an experience that you've gone through, and it's changed you. And so these are very conflict-driven lineages suitable for any setting, not just Ravenloft. Got 4 of those in there. And then we've got optional rules on how to string those together, so you can go from one lineage to the next, or you can remove a lineage if there's some reason you want to go back to the original race, or just for story purposes you want to remove it. You have that option with this book. And then we've got Potions Unlocked, which is print or digital, and it's over 100 pages, and it's really devoted to taking potions, which are kind of a run-of-the-mill thing where you just say, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, oh, I'm going to take a healing potion, and make them fun again. It's got optional rules for taste, smell, overdosing on these potions, how to craft the potions. Even with the 30 new potions in here with really cool artwork, we've gone and given you really in-depth origin stories for each of them, that you can have a vendor relate to the players, or you can turn it into an encounter if you want to have the players be responsible for the creation of some of these potions. We even have potion-themed locations, including a potion shop with 2 different stories and a whole set of maps, so you can go to each of the layers of the potion shop, different vendors that are profiled with full inventory lists, a school where you can learn to craft potions and experience various encounters swarms and adventures, and then we've got magical plants and things that you can craft, harvest and craft your potions with. So tons and tons of stuff. The whole point of the Potions Unlocked, or any of the unlocked titles that we're going to do, is to really take something and take it to its limit, give you everything you could ever want, to be the authority on that topic almost, and just really deep dive. Our Swarms book is the same thing. It's anything you could ever want on Swarms. So if you're getting these books, we feel like you're going to have everything you could ever ask for that topic, and that's our goal for you, because we really want the money to go as far as it can, because we do try to keep our prices reasonable, and then by giving you everything we can, we're helping you have that for far into the future. You're going to have the ability to have potions or swarms or whatever our topic is come to your aid at your table. So we hope you'll support us and check out all these awesome titles. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or anywhere if you're interested and unsure. I'm always here to help you. But no matter what, I hope you're clicking links, supporting creators, whether it's us or the others out there, because this is an awesome industry. We're so proud to be part of the TTRPG space, and we appreciate you. So now let's move on to the other site and their new releases. Our first DM's Guild title this week is Splashdown Deep Dive from Hellfun Digital. It's $7.99 for 22 pages, and it says, are you looking for an exciting new way to add some underwater adventure to your campaigns? Look no further. Splashdown is a fast-paced and action-packed underwater ball game that can be easily integrated into your world with detailed rules, unique team profiles, and custom uniforms and colors. This guide gives everything you need to bring this thrilling sport to life. So why wait? Immerse yourself in the underwater world of Splashdown and bring a new level of excitement to your games. So you get detailed information on each of the 4 teams for Splashdown, the Sea Serpents, the Starfish Squad, etc. You get background information on the world of Splashdown, including the rules of the game, the underwater stadiums, and the history of this unique sport. You get character creation guidelines for players, including tips on selecting races and classes that fit with each team's personality and playstyle. And you get tips and tricks for GMs on running Splashdown games, including advice on setting up matches, creating challenging obstacles, and maintaining the fast-paced action of the sport. You also get some adventure hooks, which is nice. And there's another book for it where you can get the whole bundle for both of them. There's an organized play supplement as well called, you can see it here, the Splashdown organized play supplement. So if you click our link, you'll be able to get to the bundle to get both. So if you're interested in it, it might be good to get the bundle, because then you get both books and you get that discounted rate for them. So looking inside, you can see they're going to give you an overview of the Splashdown arenas, how it works, the history of it, how you score points, other rules, all of that stuff, the different teams, the key players and coaches, spectators, underwater races, just on and on, tournaments, structures, all sorts of good stuff. And then we get to look at this page here. So let me read a little bit about it. It says, welcome to the underwater arena of Splashdown. This exciting sport is a high-flying, fast-paced competition that takes place in the depths of the ocean. Players on various teams battle it out with a special ball, using their unique skills and teamwork to outmaneuver their opponents and score points. At its core, Splashdown is a game of strategy, skill, and athleticism. It requires quick thinking, lightning-fast reflexes, and an unbreakable spirit. Teams must navigate the challenges of the underwater arena, working together to outwit their opponents and emerge victorious. So what exactly is Splashdown? In simple terms, it's a sport played in underwater stadia and arenas using a ball that is specifically designed for the environment. The rules of the game are similar to other ball games, but the unique challenges of playing in the ocean make Splashdown a truly unique and thrilling experience. Players must use specialized equipment to breathe and move underwater, as well as to maneuver the ball. And it says its gained popularity over years, and then it talks about the arenas here. But I just want to say, why wouldn't a fantasy world have some sort of sport? Right? I mean, they might have some that we have in the real world, but why not have some new ones? And I think putting it in the water is cool because it makes it cleaner. It makes it away from other things that you might already have established. Underwater, a lot of homebrewers may not have gotten there yet as far as what's down in the depths of the ocean that's nearby, right? So you could easily drop in an arena or stadium or something and then have this stuff going on. I also think, it's a good diversion. Sometimes playing through combat every session, you might need a little bit of a break, or you might want to do this and then have some combat, or maybe there's something about to happen at a Splashdown tournament that could be like combat, and then you celebrate with a match or whatever, right? Also, if you're doing, there's been a number of really great books in the last year or so regarding underwater campaigns, whether it's the Underwater Campaigns book or the Atlantis Compendium, or some of the others we've seen. This could be something you add on to those campaigns, because they could have a sporting arena that just happens to also be there. So really nice supplement. And I love mini games. You could probably adapt some of the rules for other games as well. And there's NPCs and just quite a bit of stuff in here. So it says tournaments of Splashdown. So sit back, grab a snorkel snack, and get ready to join the action. So they even have snorkel snacks. And then it talks about the arenas, which, we don't have time to read everything today, but I hope you come here and read this and check it out and consider it, because the art looks great. And as I said, you can just never have enough mini games or other things to include in your campaign to keep your players interested. So check it out. It's under Splashdown Deep Dive in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have the Eberron Codex, Chapter 4, Field of Ruins, from Kenneth Proven. It's $7 for 20 pages. It says venture deeper into the moorland and discover the once magnificent capital of Sire Metrol. And then it says the plot thickens. Discover the moorland and Metro with 100 plus random encounters and vistas to easily describe the scenes. Make your way through the eerie city and find out more about the Eberron Codex, the Lord of Blades, and a new faction, the Iron Viper. So really nice layout. Love the borders on this. And you get some fiction with it. Looks like a little bit of fiction here. And then you get some nice full page art throughout. And right away you're getting into Death by Seyron Road. It says, as the players approach the Field of Ruins, they are immediately struck by the eerie stillness that hangs over the area. The air is heavy with the scent of decay, and the sky overhead is a uniform gray, casting a bleak pall over the battlefield. The first thing the players will notice are the countless bodies lying scattered across the field. Some are posed as if in mid-stride, others are crumpled in heaps, limbs twisted at unnatural angles. All of the bodies are weathered and desiccated, with clothing and armor torn and stained by the elements. In the distance, they can make out the broken remains of siege engines and fortifications, now nothing more than piles of rubble and twisted metal. The earth is churned and scarred as if the ground itself was torn apart by some cataclysmic event. Here and there, pockets of strange crystal formations glimmer in the dim light, almost as if they are trying to escape the reality of the surrounding destruction. So very cool. I love how descriptive it is, how easy it reads. And then you get this encounters table over here. So the first one, it says haunted armor. The players come across a collection of animated armor that relentlessly attack anything that comes too close. These armors have been imbued with the spirits of fallen soldiers and continue to fight on even in death. So that could be a fun little encounter, and discovering why they're fighting on could be interesting. Let's look at another one. So shadowy saboteurs. A group of stealthy, shadowy figures lurk among the ruins, seeking to sabotage any attempts by the player to gather treasure from the battlefield. These elusive figures are armed with throwing knives and poison darts and can disappear into the shadows at will. So yeah, that's cool. I like shadow stuff. And then you get into Chapter 4, Field of Ruins. And it looks like you've got a spectral cavalry little stat block here, so that's awesome. And then, I see, it's continuing Chapter 4. That's just the header. The whole book is Chapter 4. I'm okay. Sorry, I messed that up. All right, it says out of the frying pan. The Field of Ruins is also home to strange and dangerous creatures that have been warped by the magic of the Day of Mourning. Spectral cavalry patrols the area, riding ghostly horses and armed with glowing weapons. These creatures are relentless in their pursuit of anyone who dares to enter their territory, and they are not bound by the laws of mortality. But the players have no choice but to venture into the Field of Ruins as they are being pursued by a monstrous mimic that they encountered in the Keeper's underground temple. Their only hope of escape is to reach the former capital of Sire and the supposed location of the Eberron Codex. They know that the quickest route to their destination is through the Field of Ruins. As the players make their way through the desolate Field of Ruins, they come across a strange sight in the distance. A group of warforged, each modified with razor-sharp metal and stone, march in unison toward the center of the battlefield. At the forefront of the group is their leader, an imposing figure with his weapon at the ready. As the players approach, they suddenly hear the sound of clashing metal and ghostly wails. The warforged have been ambushed by the risen specters of the dead, and their armor now animated by the cursed magic of the Mournland. The warforged are outnumbered and struggling to fend off their attack, their once unyielding resolve now faltering. So the players have to figure out if they're going to step in and help. I like that you get the spectral cavalry stat block as well. They have an action called Horse Stampede. The spectral cavalry charges towards a target within 30 feet. All creatures within a 20-foot radius of the target must make a dex saving throw or take bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. So that's cool. A lot of stuff in here to see and do. In Eberron, I know Eberron is super popular, so you just cannot have enough stuff. And these kind of little encounters, even if you don't want to follow them through the story that's here, you could sprinkle them into some other Eberron campaign, because there's a 100 plus random ones in here for just $1.07. So I think that's a great price for 20 pages. So if you're considering Eberron, you're already playing Eberron, I think this would be a good add to your collection. Get those random encounters ready when you need them, and have some fun in Eberron. So look for it in the links below under Eberron Codex and give it a click. Next, we have FS3 Vampires of the Night Masks. This is the Night Mask Vampires with an Agenda of Dominion, updated to 5th edition by Igor Cuminelli and Claudia Zani, and it's $2.99 for 25 pages. And it says the Night Mask Vampires were defeated and forced to flee Westgate, but the ancient power of the Faceless has not dimmed. It festered in Stormwatch Castle and is now ready to bloom again. So they're an international assassins guild with a plan of global domination. So you get stats to use them, rules for the vampire legacy as playing characters, new feats for vampire characters, a description of the Night Mask, 𝙬𝙬 with an original map, so you get that location for these creatures as well, and then you get new magic items related to them. So the Night Masks are from the Forgotten Realms. So you get this whole history here. And then what's really cool is that you get a lineage, and this is actually a lineage. I get kind of frustrated with a lot of books because they use the word lineage to represent race, because race is a problematic term, but they are different. What people need to understand with lineages is they're slightly mechanically different, but also lineages are something that's happened to cause this change in quote unquote race abilities. In this case, a vampire, so presumably at some point the character was a quote unquote race and then got bitten by a vampire or somehow turned into a vampire through a curse or whatever. And that's a perfect example of a lineage, is the characters traveling through their life as whatever quote unquote race, and then something happens to transform them. That's a lineage. So I love seeing this because, like I said, people are trying to get away from the word race and they're gravitating towards lineage, and it's unfortunate because they're mechanically slightly different. They all have this ancestral legacy trait, and there's other terms out there. I know Wizards is looking at species and other things, but if you're a publisher, please only use lineage like these awesome authors did, if it is truly a lineage mechanically. So cool. Anyway, you are an undead lord of the night. You became an immortal creature created willingly by another vampire. You are free-willed undead, different from the enslaved vampire spawns. Perhaps your creator was destroyed or something in your creation process went wrong. You are free to stalk the night and find your own path as an unchanging vampire. And it says you get an ability score increase, your languages, your creature type, your age, size, all that stuff. And then your ancestral legacy, dark vision, and then you get deathless nature. You don't need to breathe or eat. You need to drink blood to sustain your unlife. You must drink blood once per night or gain a level of exhaustion. You need to drink a pint of fresh blood from a humanoid or 2 pints from any other kind of living creature. So, if you kill some monsters and siphon off their blood, you should be able to get through one day, and then the next day you got to kill another monster. I'm not sure they have good storage for blood. In whatever fantasy setting you're playing, this would be Forgotten Realms. So maybe regeneration at 5th level, you regain 5 hit points at the start of your turn if you have at least 1 hit point and you are not in sunlight or running water. If you take radiant damage or damage from holy water, this trait doesn't function at the start of your next turn. So that's reminiscent of what you would see on the vampire monster stat block, which is perfect. You get spider climb, which makes sense. Undead fortitude, you have resistance to necrotic damage. At 5th level, you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks. So that's good. And it says vampiric bite. Your feigned bite is a natural weapon, which counts as a simple melee weapon with which you are proficient. You add your con modifier instead of your strength modifier to the attack, and the damage rolls when you attack with this bite. It deals piercing damage and necrotic damage on a hit. While you are missing half or more of your hit points, you have advantage on attack rolls. So you get the vampire bite, then they've got vampire claws, but there's also some weaknesses, like you can't enter a residence without invitation from one of the occupants. You can be harmed by running water. You take acid damage from it. You are destroyed if a piercing weapon made of wood is driven into your heart. And then, of course, you have sunlight sensitivity. So good mix of weaknesses and benefits, since there's quite a few benefits to being a vampire. But you also get some feats, including mist form, bat form, vampiric charm. So yeah, you can take these feats to further your vampireness. And then you've got the Night Masks themselves are in here, so you've got stat blocks for them. So this one is a CR 15. It says the Night Masks changed over time. From a thieves guild settled in Westgate, they have become an international assassins organization with bases scattered all over Faerun. Every cell of the Night Masks, led by a duke, has the precise purpose to build a local power base for the future Empire of the Night, where vampires will rule over mortals. The Faceless may count on his agents to reach this goal. Unique vampires of great power. He will stop at nothing to realize this ambition. So the Faceless is sort of the Night King, and you get all the information on it. And they're going to be vampires, so you're going to have similar things like Misty Escape and regeneration and things like that. Death's Caress, your bite becomes more lethal. So that could be really fun with you, because it says you have to be a vampire, have bat form or vampiric charm, but it increases your strength score, and you get additional points of damage on your rolls of damage on your bite, which would be good. But yeah, all the traditional stuff, bat form, mist form, these are feats. So I think that's a good way to handle it, because you can't have the race be too OP right out of the gate, right? Or quote unquote race, or in this case, it's a lineage. So I'm violating my own rules by not saying what it is. In any case, I like it because this book is only $2.99, and what's going to happen is you're going to get this faction. You're going to get some major vampires. You're going to get their lair, which we couldn't see in the preview, but it's in there. You're also going to get this cool lineage. And it's a true lineage. So a lot of stuff packed into this for only $2.99. So I encourage you to check it out. It's under FS3 Vampires of the Night Masks. Give it a click. Next, we have The Lost City of Oren Bran, a tale of cosmic horror, and it's a dungeon delving adventure for a party of 4th to 8th level characters, and it's by one of my favorite third-party creators, the Aaron Chronicles. Their team of George, Nikos, and Nikos, and it's already a copper bestseller in its first week, so it's sold over 51 copies. And they always do such great work. They did Journey of the Godslayer. I mean, so many great books, and this is no exception. I mean, look at this stunning layout, as usual, from them. And down here you can see all of their great books. We've talked about a few of them on this channel, but, I mean, Journey of the Godslayer is huge. Journey of the Spirit Walker, I mean, so many good ones. They have a companions book, where they talk about, different little feral bonds and little familiars and things. And their most recent one was Prothero's Guide to Spellweavery, which is all about magic. So fun creator team, and always looks so good. So I'm always excited when they release something new. So this one, it says, the inscription written upon the golden gates of the ancient dwarven clans serves as a warning to all who would venture inside. This tomb holds much more than the mythical riches and immense heritage the Gold Heart were rumored to possess. What would you be willing to sacrifice for the promises it holds within its decrepit walls? It's a modular adventure designed for 3 to 5 of 4th to 8th level characters, features a heavy theme of horror mystery, and can be completed during one long session or a few smaller ones. So it's got an abandoned dwarven city complete with a map, detailed districts, and lore. It's got optional scenes and encounters, a thorough introduction to the mechanics of the skill challenges, a multitude of DM tips, which I always appreciate in modules, more than 20 handouts, 2 new magic items, 3 original monsters, 6 fully colored battle maps designed for each of the adventure's combat encounters. They're gridded and ready to print, and then it's been heavily play tested. So I think that's exciting, and you're getting quite a lot for only $7.95 for 68 pages. So really cool. So you can see you've got your intro to the adventure, and then the adventure's broken into, it looks like 6 chapters, and then you get the appendix with the magic items, handouts, maps, and all that good stuff. So you get your intro. So I'm just going to scroll real quickly so we can see how cool it looks. Such nice artwork and layout. I love these little scrolls they've got throughout. Easy to read stat blocks. Great amount of art. So it's always nice when there's a lot of visual things in books, because then your eyes can take a rest. If this whole page is text, then there's nowhere for you to look and let your eye rest. So in this particular page, you can see the lower corner's got a little bit of white space. There's some artwork. There's the scroll. All of that helps your eye to rest as you try to read this, because as a DM, you're going to want to read through the whole thing before you run it. And if you don't have white space and different visual things to break it up and give your eye a break, it can get obnoxious. So I always like the layout with Aaron Chronicles stuff. I mean, you just know what you're getting when you buy their stuff. So very, very good. So let's read something so you can get a better idea. It says, more than a millennium ago, during a time mostly forgotten by today's historians, a grand dwarven warrior named Edrin Ironborn managed to do the impossible. Dubbed the Conqueror for his deeds, he cleared an area of the Underdark and claimed it for his clan, creating a safe haven beneath the stone for them to prosper in. This flourish, however, would not truly come until almost 4 centuries later, when another great example of dwarven wisdom and tenacity came to power. The new king, Oren Goldheart, was a dwarf without equal, who dedicated his life to bettering the kingdom that was handed down to him. So great were his contributions to dwarven kind that the clan he ruled over was renamed Oren Bran, which means Golden Heart, after his family name, which it bore with pride until the bitter end. In an effort to emulate the greatness of that dwarf, the clan created the concept of the exemplars, honored ancestors who became revered and were often prayed to for guidance. In their honor, they built the Halls of Remembrance, a monument to the deeds of all dwarven kind. so they could remember and venerate those before. So great was the impact of the exemplars in dwarven society that even today many clans deeply care for their history and regularly call upon their ancestors. So nice backstory. You get the history of the clan and some of the characters, the people there, the origins of the names, connection to the Underdark, locations like the Halls of Remembrance, and this sort of faction of it called exemplars, which is an elevation of these ancestors. So demigods, maybe. But anyway, lots of cool lore packed into it, which it doesn't feel overwhelming, the amount of lore. It's like that right amount of lore, which I always appreciate. Because I've seen books take it too far, but I feel like Aaron Chronicles always strikes that balance perfectly. So you got the adventure overview, advice for pacing the adventure or placing the adventure, which is nice. And you got adventure hooks, long lost heritage, dreams of lost sanity. We're going to look at that in a second. Running the game, and even a touch of cosmic horror. So, if you like Cthulhu, Lovecraft, all those kind of creepy things, eldritch stuff, they can come into play here. So, says of dreams and lost sanity. As the Shoggoth lays dreaming, its thoughts permeate the stone and touch upon the minds of those who are most susceptible. Some months ago, a raging fever struck many artists throughout the land. In their delirium, they dreamed of a place in the far realms, an antiquated city of cyclopean proportions, constructed from green stones submerged beneath invisible waves for eons, a place of abnormal and loathsome geometry that denounces Euclidean laws, and buildings can simultaneously be parallel and intersect with one another. Each tried to free themselves from these mind-shattering visions by capturing them in grotesque pieces of art. One of the members in your adventuring group succumbed to this fever. They barely remember anything from their delirium, which is only reminded to them by others and the art piece they created. Since then, however, during their reverie and whenever they look at their art, they feel the call, a call to find the ancient ruins of Oren Bran, which they can somehow innately navigate towards. So that's cool. So the artists in the region started behaving weirdly. They've started all creating works inspired by these weird visions they've been having, and a member of your party did that and kind of forgot all about it, but keeps feeling a strange connection to the art piece, and that could be really interesting too, because if the character's an artist, they could have pieces that they do have a full memory of creating, and then they have this one that's like not their normal style, and they don't have a memory of it, and so it haunts them. But at the same time, they have this pull that they need to get to Oren Bran. So lots of story potential there for the characters, because again, D&D isn't just about a novel. It's about the players crafting the story in conjunction with the DM. So I love things like this, where you're kind of helping the character come up with an angle to work, because you have your character sheet, but it's nice to have some detail, some little something that is not part of the character sheet, that's just sort of a detail, a little hook, a thing to latch onto to then further your character as you play. So I love that. Says this adventure has many horror mystery elements intertwined within its pages and touches upon the concept of cosmic horror. Feelings of eeriness and dread start to build up as the characters are thrown into an unfamiliar situation, one they are not well equipped to handle. It grows as it dawns on them that the destruction wrought here is the result of something much greater that they cannot contest and barely even fathom. So that's awesome. I love also when adventures have this sort of this pressure cooker feeling, so that the players are engaged and connected, and they're not just wanting to look at their phones while somebody else is playing their turn. It's got an intensity to it, right? And so cosmic horror is a great way to do that, especially if it's not evident from the first session that it's cosmic horror. You're just dealing with this dungeon delve, and then you realize, oh, we stepped in something, because this is way bigger than we imagined, and there's this whole far realms that we've got to worry about. And the creatures from there, and it's just dreadful, right? And so you want to check with your party, your players, make sure that they're up for something that can get dark, because people do have different sensitivities and triggers and things like that. But aside from that, I think you could have just the best time with this because it's built in. It's got this built-in tension that's gonna just slowly build. They talk about these movies that are slow burns, right, where the plot is very slow, it seems like, but then all of a sudden when it gets going, it's like a raging fire, because it's just like this little match at the beginning, and by the end it's just this raging fire of stuff going on, and it pays off. A slow burn is a reference to something that pays off, right? Because it does eventually burst into flame, right? It starts off simmering and you're like, I'm not sure about this, but you hang in there. So I think this will be more riveting from the beginning. So it's not going to necessarily be a slow burn, but it's like the slow burn in the sense that it has this payoff, where you're going to get some real conflict and some real darkness. So we've got a battered dwarven ancestor, CR5, in here, right in that first chapter. So let me just read the flavor text as the adventure starts. So as the crackling light of your torches drives away the darkness in the caverns you are currently venturing through, it reveals an immense stone door of dwarven design. The immaculate slab of granite is decorated with golden geometric patterns, as is common with dwarven architecture, and bears an inscription written in the dwarven alphabet. In front of it sit two immense pieces of stonework depicting dwarven warriors. Of the two, the right one seems to have succumbed to time, broken under the weight of crumbling boulders, a likely result of the multiple tremors that plague the area. The surviving one, a true marvel of craftsmanship, is solemnly looking upon the petitioners that would attempt to open the gates. So that's a little bit foreshadowy, right? Because it's got solemnly looking upon the petitioners, like, you don't know what you're in for. But it's very subtle. I like it. So, and then it gives you a lot of details. So it tells you what the inscription is. If you know Dwarven, you've got the undamaged statue, and then the broken statue, and more details on those and what you find with checks, and then the gates. So very well thought out. No stone is left unturned, so that you have all the information here that you need to answer the player's questions and move that story forward through this beautiful artwork. And you can show this to them as you're playing and say, hey, look, this is what it looks like, etc. Very, very cool. I love this. Always want everything from Aaron Chronicles, so I think you should check it out. And there are other books, so look for it in the links below under Lost City of Oren Bran and give it a click. Next, we have Master Builder, an Artificer subclass for creatives by Imogen Gingell. And I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But it's $1.25 for 7 pages. And it's a hands-on Artificer subclass following the unique design philosophy of the platinum best-selling School of Geometry, also by Imogen. The Master Builder gives players the experience of building their own strange and unstable magical device using no more than an assortment of their own favorite construction toys. Connect your bricks in the optimal configuration, then push your contraption to the catastrophe to unleash its magical power. So you get the subclass and then a full play example using Legos. And then there's a frequently asked questions section to help you master the subclass. And then what I really like is there's community copies here too. So if you click the link in our video description with Master Builder, you're going to see that you can click for a 50% off or even 100% off discount if you really can't afford it right now. So let's take a look inside. And it talks about how it's been play tested and the design notes behind it. So you can use, Connects or Lego or whatever little construction tool that you want to use for this. But I'm going to just scroll to the end to just show you the play example, and then we'll come back. But it says, Fiora, a 9th level Master Builder Artificer, currently has a contraption with 11 pieces stacked in a simple tower. As shown in Figure 2, she wants to use her action to cast Catapult, a transmutation spell using a 1st level spell slot. To use her contraption casting to cast the transmutation spell, she must detach a gray transmutation piece, and to access that piece, she must also detach the 4 pieces above it. So this little tower of blocks, right? I love this because not everybody engages things the same way. So giving a character the opportunity to play with blocks to sort of engage is another opportunity for connection, because again, not everybody can work with theater of the mind or whatever, even a character sheet or miniatures, having some other way to engage at least part of the experience is good. So it says Fiora now has 5 detached pieces as shown in figure 3 that she can spend before the end of her turn. She does so as follows. So you see she just disconnected this upper part here from divination all the way to transmutation. Overclock casting, Fiora spends 3 detached pieces whose colors don't matter to her, moving them to her scrap pile to finish casting Catapult, but as a 3rd level spell, even though she's only expending a 1st level spell slot. After resolving the effects of her Catapult spell, Fiora rolls a 5 on the contraption effect table. The vitality feedback effect allows her to grant temporary hit points based on the number of pieces attached to her contraption. Her contraption has 6 remaining pieces, so she gains 6 temporary hit points. Or she grants 6 temporary hit points to her friend. In the captured collapse, Fiora has 2 more detached pieces she hasn't spent yet. She uses her reaction to spend the brown evocation piece, moving it to the scrap pile and casting Firebolt. Because it's being cast using her captured collapse feature, the cantrip deals 1d10 fire damage as if Fiora were a 1st level character. So you see this diagram on the right here. It shows you which pieces were used for the overclock casting, and then which was used for the captured collapse feature, and then the transmutation. So at the end of Fiora's turn, she has 1 detached piece remaining, which has no effect because she didn't spend it during her turn. She adds it to her scrap pile as shown. So that goes into the scrap pile, and then she has 6 pieces left, right? So really interesting that things are moving and being used and spent in a different way. So, a lot of times, you get this many dice or you get that, right? So you get these blocks as your resource pool, which is really fun. So it says you've learned to build an arcane contraption from a scrap pile of odds and ends left over from your magical experiments. You can hold your contraption in one hand and you can use it as a spellcasting focus for your artificer spells. Your contraption is represented by player-built assembly made from pieces of a construction set of your choice. Whenever you prepare your artificial spells, assemble your scrap pile by selecting a number of building pieces as follows. For each artificer cantrip add 1 piece of that spell school's color to your scrap pile. For each artificer spell you have prepared, add 1 piece of that spell school's color to your scrap pile. For each artificer infusion add 1 additional piece to your scrap pile. Unlike spells, all your infusions use the same color. And then it tells you, which color the schools use. And then whenever you cast an artificial spell at the 1st level or higher using your contraption as a spellcasting focus, the following additional rules apply. When you cast a spell 1st level or higher, you must remove 1 piece of that spell school's color from your contraption. That piece is now detached. If you can't remove a piece of the correct color without also removing other pieces of any color in the process, those pieces are also detached. If no pieces of the spell's color are currently built into your contraption, you can't use your contraption as a spellcasting focus. After you use your contraption to cast a spell 1st level or higher, roll on the contraption effects table. The result immediately takes effect. Detached pieces can be spent to fuel your captured collapse, overclock casting, and critical collapse features. At the end of your turn, all detached pieces are added to your scrap pile and are no longer considered detached. Scrap pieces can be reattached to your contraption anytime your master builder features allow. So there's ways to get those back on the stack, off the stack, all that stuff. And then there's various effects like things have to be removed, or a creature of your choice that you can see gets temporary hit points. Just depends on what you roll on your contraption effects table. You learn mending, and you can cast mending on your contraption. And then it says you learn to capture and redirect the wayward energy released when your contraption collapses. After you roll in the contraption effects table, you can use your reaction to spin one detached piece of color that represents the spell school of an artificer cantrip you know, immediately casting that cantrip. So very interactive. And then the final level, we're not looking at all the levels. I want you to come read these yourself. So the final level, 15th level, you have a complete understanding of your contraption's entropy, allowing you to capture every mode of energy from its collapse. After you cast an artificer spell using your contraption as a spellcasting focus, you can use your reaction to immediately spend every remaining detached piece and return them to your scrap pile. For each piece you spend in this way, you can immediately cast an artificer cantrip you know of the school corresponding to that color. So yeah, it gets quite powerful. So I like that. Yeah, it's really cool to be able to use Legos in a different way, or whatever construction tool. That's the other thing. I like that you can use whatever construction tools you want to use. So maybe you have a different play set that you like, or some different thing you want to use. You could probably even use beads or even dice. You could probably, if you, instead of actually connecting them, if you like maybe line them up and that represents your sort of tower. I mean, there's just, you could use anything you have on hand, so don't feel like you have to go buy a bunch of Legos, although those should be pretty much out there at a thrift store or something. You could probably get some used Legos pretty cheap, although I know that a lot of them are collectible, but some basic Legos or construction pieces you could get pretty cheap. But in any case, there's a whole fact file here at the end to answer a lot of questions, and it shows you how many starting pieces, so you don't have to do all the math, which I love when people give you that. I mean, so you're getting to read quite a bit of this book for free, getting the major thrust of it, and getting to see how you get to play these blocks, and it's only $1.25. So this is a steal. I would encourage you to pay for it, but if you need a community copy, they've got those options here for you as well. So very fun stuff. Love what this creator's up to, creativity behind it, and engaging people in a different way. So bravo. Look for it in the video description links under Master Builder and give it a click. Next, we have The Revenge of the Crows, a 6-hour adventure for 3rd to 4th level characters from MZ Conti, and it's a best copper seller, already sold 51 copies in his first week, and it is 18 pages. It says it's a mystery adventure for a party of 4th level characters. It takes place in the farming village of Woodview, but can be completely restyled for fitting your own scenario and campaign. It says the village of Woodview is in danger. The scarecrows that protect the farms are mysteriously disappearing and returning possessed to attack the villagers. Without the straw dolls, the crows are infesting the farms and decimating the crops, but the citizens of Woodview have a suspicion that something sinister may be behind this whole plot. Could the arrival of brave heroes in the village be a sign that luck is about to change? So around 6 hours of gameplay, you get some digital maps for your VTT, tokens of all the creatures and main NPCs, and then a final mini dungeon with an epic boss fight. Looks nicely laid out as well. Let's look inside. So you get the intro, planning the adventure, the background, the adventure hooks, and then prep, and then you get right into part 1, a roadblock. So, and you can see you got a nice map of the road, and then you get part 2 is the town, and then part 3, a lonely man. So quite a bit you can read here, so I encourage you to do that. We're going to just read a sampling to give you the feel of it. So adventure hooks says helping people in need is one way to get into this story. Work better for those who are genuinely interested in helping those in need, such as lawful good characters. If you think this will be better motivation for the party, describe the suffering, fear, and worries of the poor villagers with rich details. Earning easy money is another motivation. The adventurers will be presented with an opportunity to make some quick cash. If the party is usually interested in material rewards, make sure that the prize that Harris offers is big enough to grab their attention. And that's just 2. There's 4 options here. But let's read the flavor text of the roadblocks, because the adventure begins with the party setting forth along a road that skirts some rural villages. As you progress down your path, plantations start to spread across the landscape, indicating that a farming village is near. Along the roadside margins Sorry, I read that wrong. Along the roadside margins, a vast cornfield accompanies you. Its tall and ripe crop suggests it should be flourishing, yet instead it appears to be in bad conditions. Pieces of cobs have been damaged and broken off, with remnants scattered across the ground. So you have to sort of ask yourself, well, why is this messed up? What happened to this field? So it says you can investigate and you can look into it. But eventually you hear a startled scream that seems to be coming up from the road. Help! Help us, please! The voice sounds like a little girl. So a little girl is being attacked by a scarecrow, and you got to deal with these scarecrows. And it talks about how to scale it. If you need it to be very strong or very weak, etc. And there's one of the scarecrows. So yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Oz, which is cool, but a dark Oz where, you know, the scarecrow's not your friend. But yeah, fun stuff in here. It looks like it could be really cool little adventure. I like the darkness of it, even though it's not fully dark. So you have this contrast to this sort of bright yellow cornfield with these dark scarecrows in it. And you're getting VTT tokens for everything, as well as maps, so can't go wrong with that. Check it out. It's under Revenge of the Crows in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Tashas Hideous Dungeon from Eldritch Lore and Adam Wood. It's $5 for 10 pages. It says, attention all daring adventurers. Are you ready for a heart-pounding, bone-chilling adventure unlike any other? Come test your mettle in Tashas Hideous Dungeon, a 2-hour dungeon designed for level 5 players. Dungeon was created as a gift for the demon lord 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤, and it's filled with truly evil horrors. But be warned, your character's survival is not guaranteed. The purpose of this adventure is to provide entertainment for 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤, if he's watching at all. Are you brave enough to face the horrors that await you in the dungeon? Enter at your own risk. So you get battle map. So yeah, really cool. And let's take a look inside. So you get to see an excerpt from the middle of the book, which is good. And you can see there's this undead jester they're going to have to deal with, the CR2 or CR4. Sorry about that. And here's the map. Quite a bit of stuff to explore and experience here. And I love the logo for Eldritch Lore. I think it looks really, really cool. Although I thought that dot meant that this was like some sort of URL for the web browser. So I tried to enter and it didn't work. But I did find them on Instagram. So very cool logo though. Really, really like that. So you get random encounter tables. And then this section up here goes into some of the numbered locations that you'd visit. So there's a dining hall. It says a large 20-foot dining table is central to this room, laden with a variety of delicious food. The feast was prepared for 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤, should he ever wish to grace the dungeon with his presence. Large paintings are hung on the walls depicting Tasha and 𝙤𝙤𝙘𝙤 embracing one another. The food on the table is considered magical. On consuming a portion of food, a creature regains hit points and one of the following benefits. So then you have to roll and see what you get. So everything from you gain climbing speed to you gain a resistance to acid damage. So that could be helpful. Now let's read about the Cliffs of Despair. This is the final battleground where the characters first encounter 𝙬𝙬𝙬, if he has not already been encountered in areas 5 and 6. On entering this area, read the following descriptive text. Standing on the edge of the cliff, you hear a loud roar that shakes the ground beneath you. Suddenly, a massive black dragon descends from the skies, its leathery wings creating a gust of wind that almost knocks you from your feet. The dragon lands on a rocky platform with a thundering crash, its glowing eyes fixing on you. Even from this distance, the dragon's breath is hot and acrid, and you feel a sense of dread wash over you. It's waiting, silently, ominously, as if counting down the seconds before it strikes. So yeah, that could be scary, facing this dragon. So you've got the random encounter table here. So there's ochre jelly, falling rocks, grimlocks, hellhounds, haunting visions, and phase spiders all lurking in this place. So yeah, a lot of things to experience, and looks like there's some fun artwork in here as well. So I think you should check it out if you're looking for an adventure. this could be the one for you, and it's under Tashas Hideous Dungeon in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Vicious Vampires, 9 new vampire nemesises from Federico Pilleri, and it's a suggested price of $2.95 for 18 pages. And it says, delve into the darkest crypts of undeath. According to most adventurers, there are only 2 kinds of vampires, the masters and their spawn. A few hardened veterans speak also of vampire warriors and mages far deadlier than their indolent kindred. And finally, a few deranged survivors whisper of things far more unpleasant, towering vampire brutes that roam the skies on bat wings, cunning deathless tacticians that lead hordes of minions with all their ruthlessness, unholy priests that openly defy the gods themselves, peerless magicians that turn the blood of their enemies against them. So you get things like the feral vampire spawn, the vampire abomination, the vampire high mage, high priest, lieutenant, spouse, strategist, and wretch. All of these are vampires, and I think that's good. We do get kind of just a few vampire stat blocks in the official material from Wizards of the Coast, so having other options is always good, especially when you think about it. You know, there's Vampire the Masquerade and all these other games that have just such a rich, deep depth of various vampires. To have just a couple is kind of a crime. So it's nice to have books like this that are going to expand that. So it starts, the preview starts with Vampire Spouse, and there's even a variant Armed Vampire Servants, and then a variant of Spellcasting Spouses, and then you get the Vampire Spouse CR8 stat block, which has got some of the typical vampire stuff on it as well, but the numbers are tuned. And then you got the Vampire Wretch, which it has another variant. So you're getting a lot of variants too, which I really appreciate, to help you get those ones up. And then you got the Vampire Masters with a variant of skillful vampires. And the Vampire Abomination is CR16. The Blood Mage. I mean, we're getting so many options in here. But you've got legendary actions on your Vampire Abomination. And it says the vampire magically calls 2d4 swarms of bats or rats, so you get that action, which is cool on this one because it's a more of a threat than some of the others. Well, let's look up here at the spouses. So it says, even monsters crave for company, and even vampires crave for friendships and love. Being cruel and narcissistic undead abominations, however, few vampires are prone to trust blindly one of their peers and enter what could be a mutual relationship. They are the ultimate backstabbers after all, and many emancipated vampire spawns repaid the dubious kindness of their former masters with well-deserved treachery. For an undead monster, the ultimate friend or lover would be someone that, while still possessing a will and a mind of their own, can't simply conceive the thought of not loving or even worse, betraying their beloved lord. Through excruciating and time-consuming blood alchemy experiments well beyond the scope of mortal magic, some vampires finally perfected the art of granting a spawn just enough free will to become a pleasant and caring companion without granting it true vampire status. A spouse could be a humble concubine, a trusted friend, or even someone that its master truly considers a soulmate, with no regards to how the monster reshaped the spouse into its own twisted idea of a kindred spirit. So lots of options there to, pull a friend in or pull a actual lover into the sort of vampire world if you have a character that's a vampire, and make them kind of like a servant, but still having some will of their own. And looking at the stat block, they get quite a bit of abilities. They get the Misty Escape, the Regeneration, the Spider Climb, the Vampire Weaknesses, and then the typical Bite and Charm and Shape Change and all that stuff. But they can't summon the bats and do some of those things, right? And then, because they're only CR8, but then you get to the Vampire Wretch, which is a CR3, so an even more scaled down one, which is nice. Despite its not negligible power, the Vampire Wretch, a minor and cadaverous form of a vampire spawn that still bears the marks of whatever ailment caused its first death, is the least form of a vampire conceivable and is accordingly treated by its creator as nothing more than a disposable nuisance. According to current theories, it rises from its grave when a full-fledged vampire sprinkles a blood gift over a fresh humanoid corpse or otherwise blesses the resting place of one or more cadavers. So that makes sense. Like, you're not being bitten while you're alive and then, you know, turning. Something's being sprinkled on top of a grave from probably some blood from the vampire or something, and then it arises as a vampire wretch, which it gets the regeneration ability, spider climb, and the weaknesses, as well as the bite attack, but it doesn't have the charm. It doesn't have the summon the bats and things. So it's cool how this is done, and there's all these variants as well, because you can do like a feral vampire spawn, which has a great sword and uses the weapon to the same effect as a claws attack, and then you've got a vampire wretch wielding a great club, gets the following additional actions, so it gets a great club. So you can mix and match these things and really make a horde of vampires feel different. We were looking earlier in this video at the book FS3, which is focused on the vampires in Forgotten Realms, and you can actually play as a vampire lineage. So, you know, you could use these two books in conjunction. You could use them in Ravenloft. I mean, there's so many ways to use this with a suggested price as well. It's exciting. So I think you should check it out under Vicious Vampires in the links below. Give it a click. Well, that's our last new release this week. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video for the algorithm, leave us a comment, turn on that bell icon if you want to know when we release a new video, and I will respond to all comments personally. And please go through all those links in the video description and check out all these great titles and support these creators. They need your encouragement to stay in this industry, especially after all the OGL craziness that happened over the past month or so. A lot of creators took a hit from Wizards of the Coast making the decisions it made. So it would be great to see people get supported. And if you click any of those links and make a purchase, you're going to be supporting the channel through a small affiliate fee, even if you purchase something we didn't discuss today. So please consider doing your shopping with us. Maybe come to one of our videos and click the link before you make a purchase, and that'll help the channel. And if you really want to even go the extra mile, we have 7 books we've released, including our Dragonlance Companion, and those are all listed in the video description links as well. Or you can go to Splinterverse.com and see all the titles we've released. And we've got more on the way. We're working on a Kickstarter that is going to be really and truly epic. It is covering something that has not been covered and is going to change your game in a fun way for 5th edition. So I hope you stay tuned for that and follow us everywhere at Splinterverse so that you can join us on that Kickstarter journey when we launch our first Kickstarter sometime this year. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you are a creator out there, hang in there. Just keep doing what you're doing, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't, because you definitely can. We show every week all the people making it happen. You can be one of those people if you haven't done it already. And we love seeing what you've got. So keep on going. And until next time, thank all of you for watching, and happy adventuring.